Now, you mentioned money and that. You got some news about the mayoral fund or the...
Absolutely, yeah. So we set up the mayoral and the chair's Hawke's Bay Disaster Relief Fund, and it was a transformation particularly based off the Drought Relief Fund. And so we had the first kick-off was from government of 1 million. And then we had donations coming in from across country, all around the world, and that enabled us to run the first phase of distribution, which is done basically because we see the applications getting less and less. So what myself and the mayors, myself as chair of that trust, we reset the criteria for a phase 2 based on substantial funds coming in, contribution support coming in. So a big one was Red Cross of 1 million a few weeks ago. So that new criteria has increased. So individuals, organisations and marae can now apply for up to 10,000. It was 1,000 per individual in phase 1. And also there is another separate pool that looks at the placarding, so those houses within a district council, the number of those, 2,000 per house, then gets distributed to that council to then be able to deliver to their those houses most in need.
Yeah. Now, a lot's been made about the need for the recovery to be led locally.
Yes.
How is that going? Is it working?
Yeah, so it was interesting. Maybe week 1, again, Grant Robertson came to the region, and he wanted to understand how would the region like to run its recovery going forward. And what he came to the conclusion, hearing from myself, the mayors, iwi leaders, was that we wanted a regional-led recovery. So something quite separate and different from, say, Sarah, post-Canterbury earthquake. Now, the minister was very enthused by that approach, and from there, that's where a regional approach had taken hold. Obviously, he had to consider Tairāwhiti, Coromandel and Auckland and how they would like to respond. So it was that task force that came back and said, great, we'd like to see a regional recovery. So the best vehicle for that has been the Matariki Governance Group. That includes myself, the mayors, iwi, PSGE, and also other government agencies that are regionally represented, such as MSD, Kāinga Ora, MB, so forth. So we have a group of governors that are there. Now, what we also have come out of that just recently before the cyclone was the Regional Economic Development Agency. And that looks to represent business, industry players that can feed into that governance group. Now, it's from there that a regional recovery agency, say a coordinator, a coordinating group, and you would have seen the announcement of the chair of that, Blair O'Keefe.
Yes.
And a great choice for a chair who's covered over the years governance roles, CE roles, now the chair of Port of Napier, and so he's a fantastic fit for chair of that recovery agency. Yeah. Now, they have also a relationship with the task force and the government to help funnel some of those funds that need to be brought to the delivery agencies that already, like ourselves, Hawke's Bay Regional Council, with stop bank repair. Obviously, huge investment needs to go in there from ourselves and government. So, yeah,
how much do you think it's needed for stop banks?
Well, so we have just released around just over a week ago our environmental resilience plan. Yeah. And a part of that, it sets out our priorities for environmental resilience going forward into the recovery, particularly for the next 6 months. Yeah. Right? And a part of that was a bid that was put to central government and the task force. Yeah. And that bid was over 800 million. That bid included stop bank repair, our flood protection schemes, emergency management, catchment management, a whole range of priorities. But flood protection is our number one.
Yeah.
And then probably waste management and silt.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that the government's given that money for silt as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So another announcement. This is just announcements area. Yeah. So that's right. Thursday last week, 133 million for Hawke's Bay. Yeah. Two categories that the local government will be heavily involved in. One category around 60,000, I believe, for councils, and that's retrospective of work already done. So people have to understand we have, councils have gone into debt to get rid of that waste removal and still working on it. It is going to take months. Yeah. And then obviously for future works, and you would have seen the headline today, 500,000 truckloads of silt to deal with in our region. So it's tremendous.
Well, Nigel Bickle was saying a few weeks ago it was 30 trucks a day or something ridiculous.
It is, yeah, and there's sites everywhere across Hastings.
It might even have been 300.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that was a very good start, and we are thankful for that, knowing that our balance sheets are being compromised in these times, as it should, because we are looking at a disaster to recover from. But we will be going back for more. We will need more.
The question about costs and rates.
Yes.
What sort of rates increase are you looking at as a result of?
Yeah, so before the cyclone, look, we were looking at an increase per our long-term plan, and we don't want to move too far outside what was...
and that was?
And that was, I want to say... Because we're in workshop at the moment, so we're changing things, so forgive me. I'm going to look at Mike to see...
Well, there's two options, so I don't
think but it's not public yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so can we...
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so, but it might be higher as a result of what's happened.
Look, we're doing our best to not increase what was planned in our long-term plan.
Yeah.